The breaking point. The chamber of the Galaxy Council was built to impress. It was massive, filled with glowing lights, floating banners of hundreds of alien civilizations, and rows of tall seats where representatives sat. Some had scaled skin, some had glowing eyes, some were just machines with no face at all. Together they formed what was believed to be the greatest political force in the galaxy. For centuries, every member world had to follow the Council's rules. They decided trade, they decided wars, they decided who could rise and who would fall. But now at the center of the hall stood the representatives of Earth. The humans had always been seen as newcomers, younger, less experienced, not as powerful as the older empires. Many of the alien delegates watched with smirks, expecting the humans to bend once again. For weeks, the Council had pressed Earth with new demands. Give up more of its resources, allow Council fleets to patrol human colonies, and limit the expansion of human technology. When the human envoy rose to speak, silence spread across the chamber. He was calm, his voice steady, but behind it was something that made even the oldest alien races shift uncomfortably in their seats. Earth will no longer submit to the Council, he said. We withdraw our membership. From this day, humanity stands alone. The words cut through the air like a blade. For a moment, there was no sound at all. Then chaos erupted. Some alien delegates shouted in anger, their voices echoing through the vast chamber. Madness, one cried. Humans cannot survive outside the Council. Another slammed the table with a clawed hand. You depend on our trade. Without us, your world will starve. Others whispered to each other in worried tones. They had seen something in the human envoy's eyes. Not fear, not weakness, but determination. One of the elder species, whose empire stretched across 100 stars, leaned forward. Its voice was slow and heavy, as if carrying the weight of centuries. If you leave, Earth will face consequences. Do you understand this? The human looked up, unflinching. We understand. The chamber shook with noise. Some demanded sanctions. Some laughed, calling it a bluff. Others whispered about hidden dangers. The word humans spread like fire, repeated again and again, as if the very idea of them breaking free was impossible to process. When the humans finally turned and walked out of the council chamber, silence followed them like a shadow. Even the loudest voices quieted as the delegation disappeared into the glowing corridor. It was as if everyone realized, in that moment, that something had broken. Something that would never be the same again. Outside the council station, news spread. Within hours, across the galaxy from the richest planets to the poorest mining colonies, creatures of every shape and size discussed the same shocking headline. Earth leaves the council. Merchants worried about lost profits. Military leaders whispered about weakness. But ordinary beings, workers, farmers, colonists, many of them felt something different. For the first time in a long time, someone had stood up to the council. Someone had said, no. Back on Earth, the mood was tense, but firm. Cities glowed with lights, factories worked day and night, and the skies above were filled with the movement of ships. Humanity had prepared for this moment. Leaders had known the council's demands would never end, that submission would only bring chains. Now, free of those chains, they stood ready for whatever came next. But not everyone believed Earth could survive alone. In distant star systems, alien fleets began quiet discussions. Some argued that humans had made themselves a target. Others believed this was the beginning of something far larger, something they could not yet see. In the council chamber, the elder races gathered in secret. One hissed in anger, its multiple eyes burning red. They think they can resist us. We will crush them quickly. But another, older and wiser, shook its head slowly. Do not underestimate them. Humans are unpredictable. That word hung in the air like a shadow. Unpredictable. And deep in the dark corners of space beyond council patrols, signals began to stir. Hidden human stations flickered to life. Unknown technology hummed in silence, waiting The galaxy believed Earth had made a mistake. But Earth had been preparing for this day. The Council laughed at humanity's defiance, but behind those laughs was fear, a quiet fear that grew stronger with every passing hour. Because once a chain breaks, it cannot be reforged. And Earth had just broken the heaviest chain in the galaxy. Rising tensions, the Galaxy Council had faced rebellions before. Small worlds sometimes resisted taxes, or minor colonies refused to pay tribute. But those uprisings always ended the same way, a quick display of power and then silence. No one had ever dared to walk away completely. No one. Until Earth. At first, many aliens laughed. Humans are nothing, one delegate sneered during a secret meeting. They have only a few colonies, a small fleet, and a short history in space. Without us, they will collapse in months. But the laughter never reached their eyes. In the quiet corners of the council chamber, whispers grew darker. Some feared that Earth's defiance might inspire others. If humans could reject the council, why not the smaller races who had suffered under its rules for centuries? Across the galaxy, cracks began to appear. Merchants argued about lost profits now that Earth had cut off trade. Whole shipping lanes were frozen, waiting for orders. A council admiral slammed his fist onto a table, demanding that fleets be mobilized to remind the humans of their place. But the council was slower than it seemed. Many empires hesitated, unwilling to commit ships while rumors spread of hidden human strength. Meanwhile, Earth was silent, too silent. No ambassadors, no communication, no desperate pleas for food or resources. Instead, satellites above human colonies buzzed with strange signals. Alien spies reported construction on a scale never seen before. Massive orbital stations rising in Earth's skies, shipyards burning with light, hidden bases appearing in asteroid fields. The Council demanded answers, but Earth gave none, and silence, more than words, began to frighten them. One evening, deep in a Council war room, a hologram of Earth's solar system hovered above a black table. Dozens of alien leaders stared at it, their eyes glowing, their voices sharp. "They cannot build this much without help," said one, its voice clicking like breaking glass. "Maybe they already had it," another answered, its skin shifting colors nervously. "Then who gave it to them?" No one had an answer. Rumors filled the galaxy like poison. Some claimed humans had discovered ancient technology buried on Mars. Others whispered they had formed secret alliances with outlawed species in the far reaches of space. A few even said humanity was preparing a weapon that could make entire fleets vanish. Every whisper was dismissed in public, but none were forgotten. On distant colony worlds, ordinary aliens gathered in bars and marketplaces, speaking in low voices. "The humans are not afraid," one said. "They left the council and still stand tall." Another nodded. "Maybe they are stronger than we think." For the first time, respect and fear began to spread outside human borders. But the council was not built on patience. To show strength, they ordered one of their loyal empires, the Cathari Dominion, to send a fleet near a human outpost. Officially, it was just a training patrol. Unofficially, it was a threat. On the night the fleet arrived near human space, thousands of alien eyes turned toward the stars, waiting for Earth to tremble. Instead, Earth stayed silent. The fleet waited, sending warnings, demanding inspection of human cargo ships. But no human vessels responded. The silence dragged on, turning tension into unease. Then, without warning, every Cathari ship detected the same thing: a signal. Not a weapon lock, not a threat, just a message pulsing across their sensors in simple code. "Leave. Now." The alien commander laughed at first, but when one of his frigates drifted too close to the border, it simply vanished. No explosion, no debris, only a bright flash of light before empty space swallowed it. Panic tore through the fleet. They fired weapons blindly into the void, but nothing struck. And then, as quickly as it had come, the signal repeated, "Leave. Now." The fleet turned back. When news of the event reached the council, the chamber shook with arguments. Some demanded immediate war, others called for restraint. But beneath all, their shouting was the same unspoken thought. If Earth had such power, what else were they hiding? Back on Earth, factories thundered and shipyards glowed, but the streets of human cities were calm. People went to work, children played under the sun, and leaders spoke with quiet confidence. They had no intention of explaining themselves to the council anymore. And yet, beyond the calm surface, there was tension. Humanity knew the council would not stay passive forever. War was coming, sooner or later, but Earth had been preparing. Not for weeks, not for months, but for decades. The galaxy believed humanity had just broken ties in anger. But the truth was far stranger. Earth had walked away not because it was weak, but because it was ready. And in the council's endless halls, as alien voices rose in fear and fury, one thing became clear. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the center of it. First clash, the galaxy waited for Earth to stumble. Every empire, every trader, every soldier believed the humans would eventually beg for help. But weeks passed, then months. Earth remained silent, strong, and untouchable. The silence began to feel like a challenge. Finally, one empire broke the tension, the Dravri hegemony, a proud and ancient species known for ruthless conquests. They wanted to prove to the Council and to the galaxy that humans were fragile and reckless. Strike fast, their warlord said. Crush their colonies. Make an example of them. A fleet of 50 warships crossed the edge of human space, their hulls shining with red light. To them it was just another mission. They had destroyed dozens of weaker races before. They expected Earth to fall the same way. Their target was Titan Outpost, a mining colony near Saturn's largest moon. The Dravri believed it was poorly defended. They expected frightened miners and a few small patrol ships. Instead, they found something different. As their fleet entered orbit, Titan Outpost stayed calm. No distress signals, no retreat. The humans did not run. The Dravri commander smiled cruelly. Then they will burn. He gave the order, and the first wave of missiles streaked toward the colony. Explosions lit the void, tearing into the rocky surface. But when the smoke cleared, the colony still stood. Shields glimmered around its domes, stronger than anything the Dravri expected. Then, the silence broke. From behind Saturn's rings, shapes began to emerge. Not small patrols, not weak transports, but sleek human warships, dark angular, built for speed and power. Dozens of them, rising like shadows from the planet's icy rings. The Dravri commander froze. Impossible. Their fleet is larger than reported. The humans didn't answer with words. Their ships moved in perfect formation, silent and precise. The first volley of human weapons was unlike anything seen before. Beams of white light cut across space, not like ordinary lasers, but something denser, sharper. They sliced through Dravri shields as if they were paper. Within seconds, 3 Dravri cruisers exploded into clouds of fire. Panic spread through the alien fleet. Their weapons returned fire, but human ships darted through the void with unnatural speed, weaving between blasts, striking again and again. For the first time in centuries, the Dravri felt fear. The commander shouted for retreat, but it was too late. Human warships surrounded them, closing every path of escape. And then, over open comms, a human voice finally spoke. Calm, cold, final. You should not have come here. The words chilled every alien aboard. Then, one by one, their ships were destroyed. Not all at once, but carefully, deliberately. As if humanity wanted the galaxy to watch. When only a handful of Dravri vessels remained, the humans stopped firing. The survivors fled into deep space, their ships crippled, their morale shattered. They carried back more than wounds. They carried a story. The story of how humans fought like no other. News spread faster than light. The Council tried to hide it, but rumors raced through every star system. Entire fleets of the Dravri, beaten by humans. Weapons no one had ever seen. Ships that seemed to appear from the shadows. Suddenly the galaxy no longer laughed. In marketplaces, Aliens whispered. The humans destroyed them. In back rooms, smugglers traded secret recordings of the battle. Soldiers in distant armies sat in silence, staring at the footage, unable to believe what they saw. In the council chamber, the arguments turned desperate. Some demanded that all empires unite and crush Earth before it grew stronger. Others refused, saying they would not waste fleets against a race that had just humiliated the Dravari. Divisions grew, alliances cracked, and through it all, Earth remained silent, offering no explanations. Back on Earth, the people did not celebrate loudly. They worked harder. Shipyards doubled production. Factories thundered day and night. Leaders spoke of unity, preparing for a storm they knew was coming. Because this was only the beginning. The Council would not forgive. The galaxy would not forget. But humanity had proven one thing the universe could no longer deny. They were not weak. They were not afraid, and when humans fought, the stars themselves seemed to tremble. The galaxy in chaos. The council chamber had never been so divided. Once, it had been a place of order. Rows of alien delegates sitting in silence, obeying. Strict rules. But now it was loud with shouts, accusations, and fear. The news of the Dravari defeat spread like wildfire. The mighty empire, once feared across the stars, had lost dozens of warships to humanity. For the first time, the galaxy had seen humans fight, and the galaxy could not unsee it. Some empires demanded revenge. A reptilian warlord slammed its claws against the table. Strike Earth now, destroy them before they grow too powerful. Others shook their heads. A machine intelligence, its voice calm but sharp, warned, "You have seen their weapons. They cut through shields as if they were air. If we rush, we may lose fleets we cannot replace." The chamber erupted into chaos. Old rivalries, long buried, began to rise again. Allies argued, treaties collapsed, and suspicion spread. The Council, once the great unifying force of the galaxy, was starting to tear itself apart. Outside the chamber, the galaxy itself was changing. On border worlds, smaller races began to whisper. For centuries, they had been forced to pay heavy taxes to the Council, their resources drained, their freedom stolen. But now, they asked each other the same question. If humans can walk away, why can't we? Merchants closed their trade routes, unwilling to risk ships near human borders. Some secretly sent supplies to Earth, hoping to build ties with the rising power. Smugglers carried stories of human warships, sleek, silent, unstoppable, and sold them like legends. Even within powerful empires, cracks appeared. Generals argued with politicians, leaders accused rivals of weakness, and citizens wondered why their rulers feared a race once mocked as primitive. The galaxy was beginning to fracture, and Earth? Earth said nothing. The silence was more powerful than any speech. While the Council screamed, humanity built. Shipyards in orbit filled the skies with new warships. Factories on Mars glowed like suns. On Earth, citizens volunteered for training, ready to defend their world. There were no protests, no hesitation. Humanity stood united in a way the galaxy could not understand. In the shadows, Council intelligence tried to uncover Earth's secrets. Spies reported strange signals in deep space, stations hidden in asteroid fields, colonies on worlds never listed in Council records. Some claimed the humans had found allies beyond the known galaxy. Others swore they were preparing weapons that bent the laws of physics. Every rumor added fuel to the fire. The galaxy trembled not because Earth attacked, but because Earth waited. That waiting, that silence, made every empire nervous. No one knew when the humans would strike again, or what weapon they would reveal next. One night, in a dark chamber on a council station, a private meeting was held. Representatives of 3 powerful empires sat in secret, their voices low. "We must unite," one whispered. "We cannot. The others will never trust us." Then Earth wins. Even in private, no one had a solution. Meanwhile, far from the Council, unrest grew. On a mining world in the Outer Rim, colonists refused to pay tribute. "If Earth can be free," they shouted, "so can we." When soldiers arrived to crush the protest, the colonists fought back, waving human flags they had made from scraps of cloth. Across dozens of systems, rebellions sparked. Some were small, quickly silenced. But others spread, fueled by the idea that the Council was not invincible. The galaxy was falling into chaos. For the first time in centuries, the Council no longer controlled the stars. Trade collapsed. Armies were stretched thin. Old enemies, once kept in check by fear, rose again. And through it all, humanity moved like a shadow, silent but present, shaping events without lifting a hand. On Earth, leaders gathered in a war room, maps of star systems glowing across the walls. They spoke in calm voices. There was no rush, no panic. "The Council is breaking itself," one said. "We will wait," another answered. "And when the time is right." A quiet smile. "Then we will lead." The Council had once believed humanity's departure would make them weak, but instead, it was the Council that had weakened, divided, corrupted, dying. And deep inside every alien heart, a dangerous thought was growing stronger every day. Maybe the humans are not just another race. Maybe they are the future. Humanity's revelation, the galaxy was breaking. The Council, once feared as the voice of order, was now drowning in its own arguments. Empires accused each other of weakness, trade routes collapsed, rebellions spread like fire, and old wars reawakened. The stars once united now burned with chaos, and through it all Earth remained silent. But silence could not last forever. Whispers filled every corner of the galaxy. What were the humans waiting for? Why had they not attacked? Some claimed Earth had no plan, that their first victories were luck. Others feared the opposite, that every quiet day meant humanity was preparing something far worse. Then the moment came. It began not with war, but with light. Across hundreds of systems, colonies once loyal to the Council awoke to signals carried on beams of pure energy. Holograms appeared in city skies, in barren deserts, in the domes of mining stations. Everywhere, the same image, the symbol of Earth, and then a human voice spoke. Calm, steady, heard in 1,000 languages. The Council has ruled by fear, by chains, by taking from the weak to feed the powerful. We have seen their corruption. We will no longer bow to it, and neither should you. The words echoed across the stars. On worlds that had suffered for centuries, people stood frozen, listening. On planets where taxes had bled the poor dry, hearts beat faster. On stations where soldiers enforced Council law with cruelty, fists clenched. The message continued. Earth offers a new path. Not an empire, not another council, but an alliance. A union built on fairness, freedom, and respect. We do not ask you to kneel. We ask you to stand. The speech ended, but the fire it lit did not. Across the galaxy, alien worlds erupted in cheers. Flags were torn down. Statues of Council leaders were toppled. Colonies declared independence and pledged themselves to Earth's alliance. Soldiers deserted their posts, choosing to fight beside humanity rather than against it. The Council tried to respond, but their words were drowned out by riots in their own capitals. Armies once loyal to them split apart. Empires once united turned on each other, and for the first time the galaxy looked not to the Council but to Earth. Meanwhile, humanity revealed its truth. For decades, while pretending to bow to the Council, Earth had been preparing. Shipyards hidden in asteroid belts produced fleets larger than anyone imagined. Research labs in secret stations developed weapons beyond Council science. Colonies on forgotten worlds had grown strong, waiting for this moment. Human fleets emerged, from the shadows not to conquer but to protect. They defended rebelling colonies, broke Council blockades, and delivered food where the Council had taken it away. Wherever human ships appeared, they were welcomed not as conquerors but as liberators. The Council's leaders watched in horror. Every attempt to strike back failed. Every fleet they sent either retreated or joined the humans. The chains of The galaxy were breaking one by one, and Earth was the hand holding the hammer. In a final desperate meeting, the elder races of the council shouted at one another. "We must crush them now," one screamed. Another shook its head. "It is too late. The galaxy has chosen." And so it had. Months later, in a vast chamber on a neutral world, leaders from across the galaxy gathered, not in the council hall but in a new assembly. At the center of it stood the human delegation, their voices carried not with arrogance, but with quiet strength. "We do not seek to rule you. We seek to walk beside you. Together, free worlds can build a future greater than the council ever allowed." For a long moment, silence held the hall. Then, one by one, alien leaders stood and gave their pledge, some with joy, some with fear, but all with hope. The council, once the unshakable heart of the galaxy, was gone. In its place rose something new, a fragile alliance, born from Earth's defiance. And so the galaxy changed. Humans, once mocked, as too young, too reckless, had reshaped the stars with a single choice. They had broken their chains, and in doing so, they had given others the courage to break theirs. In the quiet that followed, one truth echoed through every world, every ship, every colony. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and it would never make that mistake again.